Is this multi? Oh my. Good morning, gamers. Well, it's actually not morning for me, but it is a Monday, and it is a morning somewhere. As such, as I've said in the previous video, we're going to be restarting our Voidwaker grind, and instead of relying on picking up any small bears, skeletons, spiders, tasks, or whatever, we're just going to go straight to it. I think I'm going to start with Calvarion first because, well, let's just open up the collection log real quick. My Calvarion KC is now at 2,302, along with 13 Vedion KCs. Safe to say we are well overdue for the Voidwaker blade. So it's a little bit of cope, but I'm going to go to Calvarion and hopefully greenlog this bad boy. And then I think Callisto, or more specifically Ardio, is going to be the second boss we go after. I'm really not looking forward to Spindle. Perhaps when I'm 2 out of 3, I'll have a little bit more motivation to do Spindle for the third and final Voidwaker piece. Well, before all that, I'm going to get set up with some typical Ironman things like the farming contract and all that, as well as get 416 heroes set up for some more Varlamore thieving. If you're new to the series, this is a Dolo Gim series where I play 2 accounts simultaneously. Sometimes I do focus on one account more so than the other, but for the most part, we progress on both accounts. This account you're looking at right now is the maxed account that has almost all the gear. Of course, we still have things to do, and we're missing some items. And this account is 416 hero, currently working on some Varlamore thieving, getting our levels up. Currently at 82, we'll be 83 in approximately 3 to 4 hours of this Varlamore thieving method. This is our 50 defense account. Both accounts are in the same Gim team. We got the farming contract and the birdhouse run out the way. We're just going to do one little change to our Calvarion setup that we've been using for the longest time now. And instead of using a myth cape, we're going to be using an Inferno cape. This is a spare one. I do have like 4 Inferno KC, I think, on this account. And we do have these Trover parchments. So I'm going to be using one of these bad boys on the Inferno cape. It'll cost me another 500k on top of that. All right, well, there we go. We have the Inferno cape now. Okay, perhaps this is not the best time to do wilderness content. As you can see, we are now disconnecting. This actually happened about 5 minutes ago while I was doing my farming contract. Thought nothing of it. I thought it was just a slight hiccup. But seems like the servers are having some issues right now, which is very unfortunate. The other account at Varlamore Thieving is going down as well, so it's not specific to one world or anything. The accounts are on different worlds at the moment. This is unfortunate. Alright, we've waited out a few minutes now and no DC, so hopefully we don't disconnect. Also, that was a complete misclick. I meant to right click and peek, but wow, okay, looks like that bot didn't get DC'd. Interesting. Alright, hopefully no more server disruptions. We are now ready to farm some... Oh, this is not good. Oh, well, it's bugged us in. There goes the servers. Oh. Is this a full DC? I don't know. This is impeccable timing. I hop into the Calvarion cave, and now I disconnect. Alright. It is cursed. Okay, as soon as I get back on, I'm just gonna make sure I have all my stuff, and then I'll just have to wait it out, and perhaps try again another time. I've managed to log back in, and I found myself at Lumbridge. So yeah, we indeed did die in that Calvarion instance. We're going to go pick up our stuff though, and then I'm just going to wait it out. Checking into Calvarion again. This is about maybe an hour, maybe a little bit over that later. Hopefully the servers are stable now. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's get started on this Calvarion grind again. I believe starting KC is 2,302. The drop rate for the Voidwaker blade is a 1 in 912. When we DC'd earlier, it was actually pretty unfortunate as we just entered the Calvarion lair. We lost our full inventory of supplies, so 2 Divine Super Combats, all these blighted restores, the 5 or so brews we brought in, and all the food. On top of that, we also lost out on a salve, I believe, as well as our Book of War, which I actually had to go get another one just before we came back. So hopefully no more DCs from this point on. Jagex did tweet out that they believe they were under some network attacks, which is a bit unfortunate. That hasn't happened in quite some time that we know of anyways, so strange that it's happening again now. But you know what? Between PKers and things like server instability, which are just out of your control, this is why you don't bring anything that you don't want to risk or are willing to lose while you're in the wilderness. You never know what might happen. One more comment before we just put our head down and chip away at the KCs here. I did elect to continue Varlamore Thieving on 416 Hero rather than using it as a scout outside. So currently we don't have a scout outside. Hopefully that's okay. But we will have to be quick with the teleport if a PKer comes in. But also, you know, if we do get tele-blocked or whatever, I'm actually not too concerned that we will end up dying to a PKer. We do have plenty of supplies. As long as we don't greed and stay for too long, we will be okay. Just 2 minutes left on my last sip of the Divine Super Combat. I brought 2 4-dosers in, so that's about 40 minutes. And for the most part, we've been uninterrupted, I should say. I did see 2 PKers roll in, but I mean, one of them was in salad robes, those Xerician robes, those green ones, if you know what I'm talking about. I think both the PKers were pures or something, though, very low level, so they didn't even deal with me. So I just kept on trucking through. The servers are still a little bit laggy right now, although I haven't full DC'd, thankfully, but there are some hiccups here and there. But we're powering through, essentially, just hoping we don't die and get disconnected again. Unfortunately, no luck so far, though, on the drops. Stepping away from the Voidwaker grind momentarily, as I don't really have enough time to commit to another Calvarion trip right now, especially if it's going to last 40 minutes. So, while I do still have a little bit of time online at the moment, I am just going to be making some GP. So currently, I am in the Rogue's Den in Berthorpe. What I'm doing is talking to Martin Thwaite right here, and I'm selling some of these rune items and dragon items to him, and then world hopping and repeating that process. There are certain shops around Gielinor that will buy things from you for high alch price, or pretty close to the high alch value. Obviously, the more you sell of one item to the shop, for example, I have 251 rune chain bodies, I'm not going to be dumping all of them at once. So right now, if I sell 1 rune chain body, the shop will buy them for 30,000 coins. After I sell 5 of those, with those 5 in the shop, each rune chain body is now worth only 25,000. So that's the reason why we world hop. This is a quicker way than high alching, especially notable for endgame or late game irons that are now 99 magic and don't feel like spending all that time high alching. That's exactly my situation right now. So instead of high alching, I'm just selling to the shops. If you want to be the most efficient with your items, obviously just sell 1 at a time. But if you're going to do that, that's going to take quite a while. So I just opt to do 5 at a time. This was something I procrastinated to do for quite some time now. I've always been pretty poor GP-wise on the Ironman. This 20 mil GP stack in my inventory sitting here right now is probably the most GP I've seen in a long time. Now this GP is going to disappear though, because I am going to put that money towards the Scar Essence mine to get my blood rune stack replenished, as well as maybe some other runes as well. Alright, so I made my way back to Calvarion. Unfortunately got interrupted by a PKer, and I stopped to just talk a little trash with the clan chat. This guy pulled out the world's slowest Gmaul. Well, looks like he gave up. Let's get out of here. Alright, back to Calvarion we go. Hopefully no one took my world. I was in the middle of a KC. That PKer did bring some risk, to be fair. There's some activity outside or inside. Are you kidding me? Alright, there goes my world. Alright, we hopped 1 world and this world was available, but we're gonna have to start fresh here. Can't even finish the previous KC we were on. But yeah, that guy did bring some risk for his PK setup, to be fair. He had the Nox Halley. He was in Barrow's gear, Serp Helm, and things like that. So, better than most PKers that I see run through. But in general, I felt pretty confident that I was going to get out of there alive. Anyways, let's continue. We were interrupted very briefly, but it's the wilderness. It is what it is. Okay, what a random series of events. Okay, there's a PK here, which I just baited. I pretended like I was going to leave. What I just noticed is I just got a skeleton champion scroll. That's like the 3rd one here or something like that. The PK is still here. I'm quite literally just ignoring him right now. Okay. He says, sir. Hello. What does this guy want from me? Oh, look, he called his boy. Oh, his boy's a little bit more geared. Is this multi? Oh, my. I didn't know that was multi. Cringe. Well, I should have known better, you know? I should have just ran away from the get-go. But I thought we could have a little fun there. That guy, you know, started typing and everything. But turns out his entire clan was out there waiting for me. And apparently there's a gap right there that I didn't know was a multi-line, so that was interesting. As I watched back that clip, I know I just said that I didn't know that was a multi-zone right there. Meanwhile, I do have the Wilderness PK lines on, and obviously if I paid attention to that, I would have realized I ran into multi. But running south out of the Calvarion cave when I do get tele blocked has been a thing that I always do, and I just noticed, if we actually go back to the crime scene right here, is that if I had simply ran through the graveyard or even around the graveyard but then stuck to this west side of this little bridge right here, I would have remained in singles. However, I ran on this side of the bridge, and right as I crossed this threshold right here, I ran into multi, which honestly is such a tiny gap, because typically I run south right here, I'm in multi, but then I run back this way and I'm in singles. So I never really noticed that, to be honest. And quite frankly, that was the first time ever I dealt with like 5 to 6 people PKing me at Calvarion, which is, I still can't believe it. I mean, have fun with my like 600k loot between 6 people, I suppose, but yeah, the way that happened is just so unfortunate, because like I said, I was expecting like a funny interaction, but turns out the noob was not a noob. Or actually, you know what? I'll still call him a noob, but he was backed up by 5 to 6 people, and at that point, it's just a numbers game, which is unfortunate. Because let's be honest, who is multi-PKing at Calvarion? But I guess those guys have like a whole script written on how to approach Calvarion farmers or something. I mean, like I said, 6-7 people doing that. All I gotta say is that is just some cringe behavior. Anyways, I'm not entirely familiar with the Trover parchments. I haven't really used them before, and I certainly haven't died until now. I believe I still have the parchment on this, and I don't need to fix it or anything, because I did protect item when I died, and the cape might have been my 4th item. So that saves me 500k, I suppose. Anyways, after that brief interruption, I've since re-geared and I'm getting ready to get back to Calvarion. I wasn't really going to send an update or record any clips until anything remotely interesting happened. Well, I guess getting PK'd is interesting. But here's the Calvarion KC update. We're at 2369. Still no blade. Surely won't go 3 times dry, right? I mean, usually it's very unlikely to go 3 times dry on something, just based on the math. But yeah, we got another 400 KC or so until we're right around that 3x rate. Hopefully we get the blade between now and then. Over on 416 Hero, instead of being a wilderness scout, ultimately costing me 1 death for 600k worth of loot. I mean, I didn't actually lose anything that was worthwhile. It was quite literally just the Calvarion loot. And I suppose Barrow's gloves, which I just bought real quick from the RFD chest again. Well, we are just 67 pickpockets away from 83 thieving, so that's a plus, I suppose. At this point, I don't know how many times I've done this. This is a reoccurring thing on the channel, I suppose. How many times have I interrupted what I was doing, a grind that I was on? All of a sudden, I'm standing at the top bank, and I'm like, let's pot some toms. Well, that's precisely what we're going to do right now. First raid of the day, and there is no purple. You know, if we're not going to get a purple, this is a pretty nice chest to get. 50 vials of blood, 29 Renar weeds. Okay, I don't really care too much for the 33 Irrit leaves, but you know, that's nice too, I suppose. Second KC, still no purple. You know, we did pull an Avernic relatively recently, to be fair, so can't really complain too much. And another raid complete, and still no purple. Well, that's weird. We're looting from the wrong chest. 4 raids, 3 completions, no purples to be had. I'm probably going to call it a night here, but tomorrow we're going to continue doing more Calvarion. I just logged on for today, and I'm already being told by some clanmates that the servers are having issues again, unfortunately. I think recently the servers have been under some network DDoS attacks, which honestly, it doesn't matter how good the servers are. If they're going to get DDoSed, it is what it is, right? From my understanding anyways. So it's just unfortunate, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Right now, I'm just doing my typical dailies, and then we're going to get back to the Voidwaker grind. Got a few Australians in the clan, and they recommended I log into the Australian world right now to avoid those DDoS attacks. I'm playing on 190 ping. Currently just doing my birdhouse run though, so no big deal. But I'm not sure if I want to go into the wilderness on this ping. I don't know. Alright, we are playing on 200 ping. The servers are getting DDoSed. And in real life, the weather is kind of bad right now, so my internet or power could go out. But what else could possibly go wrong? You know, maybe today is the day we finally get the Voidwaker blade from here. First KC of the day, we get ourselves some blighted restores, which is good, but it's also kind of unfortunate when we do get it nice and early because I really don't have the inventory space for it. Those ones are going to go into my looting bag. We are checking in on KC 2400. Let's see what we're going to get here. Some death runes. So it's been pretty cozy on this Australian world. We did get interrupted once by a PKer, but nothing really happened. I was able to teleport out right away. After the last death at Calvarion here, no more funny business. We're just TPing out or getting away as soon as possible. Well, it's been a while since I've seen this, but we got ourselves a longbone. KC 2406. Oh, I can't put that in the looting bag. Alright, we'll just keep it honest then. According to our loot tracker, although it is missing some KC, our loot tracker only shows 1,908 KC, but even then we've received 7 longbones here, and we're missing out on like 500 KC. We just got ourselves another skull of Vedion. I believe that is the 4th one. Let's take a look at the collection log here. Well, we can't, but that is the 4th one, KC 2420. We're still after the Voidwaker blade. 2,462. A Ring of the Gods. I guess I'll grab that and get out of here. Oh, that went in my looting bag. That's a little spooky. Oh my goodness, a PKer actually came in. What the? Back to Lumbee? This guy was in full obby? What is he doing? Well, since I actually had to TP out of that after picking up the ring, this is what it looks like now. That was our 6th Ring of the Gods. Okay, this is seemingly a bot that has come in, but I'm also highly suspicious of this right now because I've had this type of interaction before where they're just trying to click on the boss, but it turns out to be a PKer with a Voidwaker, so I'm on my toes right now. Like this is very weird behavior. Although that instant melee prey turn on makes it feel like this is a bot. He certainly looks like a bot. Very strange. He just tried to hijack my kill too. Weird. And now he logs. Okay, strange. I guess that was a bot, but I don't know. There's also been PKers that pretend like they're being bots, I guess. I don't know. Strange behavior in the wildy, you know, whether it's bots or real players. It's just strange all around. Well, I wanted to call it a night earlier than this on day number 2, but we just kept getting closer and closer to 2,500 KC, in which we're working on right now. You know, maybe we get the drop on a nice clean number here. That'd be nice, 2,500, and then get out of here and we'll move on to not Calvarion, we're at Calvarion. We'd move on to Ardio for the gem, I believe. Well, let's see what happens here. Here we go, moment of truth, KC 2,500, we are getting some gold ore, alright. Well, I still have a whole bunch of supplies in my inventory, but I think I'm gonna call it a night. Once we reached that 2,500 milestone, we didn't really do any more Calvarion the next day. What I have done so far, though, is some more thieving here at Varlamore on 416 Hero. Currently 84 thieving now with just 203k EXP to go until 85. Heading back to Calvarion now. Yesterday I took a bit of a break from Calvarion. I did do some thieving on the other account on the side. The current progress right now is we're halfway to 85 thieving over there. And in terms of what you're seeing on the screen, Calvarion, we are still at precisely 2,500 KC. That is a PK. Okay. Or, I don't know, was that a PK? He was definitely skulled, but anybody inside? Nobody inside. Surely that guy saw me, right? And he might come back. So the thing is, right now we are currently doing Calvarion without a scout. In the past, we've always had a scout, but for these last few sessions, I'm busy thieving, you know? I gotta get the levels, I gotta get the gain, so we're just gonna have to make do without a scout. I'm feeling pretty good about today's session. I feel that the blade is finally happening soon. I mean, we're now over 2500 KC, and around the 2700 mark and some change, that's going to be 3 times dry. And just with all the math, probability, and whatnot, it's pretty unlikely that we're going to go over 3 times dry. I say this as if it hasn't happened to me before. My 2 notable grinds that were insanely dry was for the Bando's Godsword, and particularly the Eternal Crystal at Cerberus. I went just about 5.5 times dry. That's probably the most notable item that I went super dry on. But yeah, I feel good, you know, with all that being said, I feel pretty good about today's session. I think it's coming. First trip of the day, 23 KC, cut short because a PKer came in, but I hit this Royal Seed pod real quick. No controversy there. Well, only a few more KCs after returning to Calvarion, and the same PKer came back. I'm going back in again, and yeah, hopefully this guy just goes away because he splashed on me twice now. Actually, the first time he didn't even have a chance. The second time he splashed on me. But yeah, we're heading back there. I only managed to get, what, like 5 KC, if that, on that trip, unfortunately. In fact, I barely even used any of my supplies. Spaghetti chance in the wilderness, spaghetti chance in the wilderness. Dude. Well, 2532, 2532, another longbone. That is the 8th one in the collection log, but I'm sure, or 8th one in the loot logger for Calvarion. But as I've mentioned in the past, the loot logger is missing about 500 KC, so there's a chance we have more than 8 of those from here. Wow, I'm here at the Gnome Stronghold, and you'll never guess it. The same PKer showed up. I've only gotten like 8 more KC. Can this guy just go away, please? At least have it be someone else, you know? Like, it's the same guy, jeez. Oh, look, he's back. I didn't even get a KC. This guy's not gonna kill me. Nice Voidwaker. Not gonna kill me. Not going to kill me. Not even with the help of Calvarion. Did I just gap him? I just... oh, no, not yet. Okay. Looked like I gapped him. Did I gap him now? I think I gapped him. Dude. Oh my god, I turned on the music by accident. Bro, please go do something else, man. Waste the time for you and me. Jeez. I even let this guy TB me this time, and he gapped himself. He gapped himself, man. He just, like, what are you doing? Go to LMS. That's not a Voidwaker blade. That is a dragon pickaxe, though. You know, it is worth a little bit, although 800k for a dragon pickaxe these days is absolutely abysmal. It used to be like 3 mil a long, long time ago. But yeah, we'll take that, I guess. Although it wouldn't hurt me if I lost it either. But the problem with the price of that is that it would probably prioritize over the Barrow's gloves or something. I don't know. You know, it's just not ideal. I'll take the dragon pickaxe out. That is our 5th one from Calvarion. In fact, I think all my dragon pickaxes are from Calvarion, so that's 5 in total. We now have 1 to stash in TOA, 1 to keep in the bank, 1 to stash in TOA for the other account, 1 to keep in the bank for the other account, and we just have this 5th one just cause, I guess. I don't know. Well, of course, naturally, we have to open up the collection log, and it looks like we have 6 dragon pickaxes. I don't recall getting one from anywhere else, so I guess it's 6 pickaxes from Vedion and Calvarion, actually, not 5. Right after the dragon pickaxe, we get the rune pickaxe. How fitting. Some guy named Air Goob in Mystics just tried to TB me. You know, highly suspicious. I have a Gooba in my clan. Highly suspicious. Probably not him, though. But what a name. I guess the wilderness is pretty busy right now, you know? I mean, 5 PK attempts on me, albeit 4 of them were by the same person. It's got to be within the last hour. I don't think I've been out here for very long. Oh my goodness, you know, I actually looked down at my other screen when I got this drop, and I saw a loot beam. I glanced up, and it's a Dragon 2-hand at KC 2563. I would like to look at the collection log here, but as I've mentioned before, it's kind of hard. Calvarion spawns so quickly, so we'll check it out after this. Alright, we finished this KC. We got some Dark Crabs. Okay, the previous KC, we got the Dragon 2-hand. That is our 10th one. Of course, it is shared across the other bosses, although I'm not sure if I've pulled Dragon 2-hands from the other bosses. But yeah, that was our 10th one at KC 2563. So today, so far in this session, we've gotten a Dragon Pickaxe and a Dragon 2-hand. They're both the same drop rate. Not as rare as the Voidwaker blade, though, which is almost 3 times the rate. 3 times as rare. Sitting at 1 in 912. Bad news, a bot hijacked my Calvarion world. Good news, somebody just got an Inquisitor's Mace. Welcome to the party, welcome to the club. I'm using one right now. Throughout the grind today, I had actually been live streaming the progress as well. I was getting ready to do 5 more Calvarion KC to round out our KC at 2600 on the day before I ultimately ended the stream. However, I never even got the opportunity to do that, as my power just went out right as I TP'd out of the wilderness. I guess it was fortunate timing that I did TP out and I was in a safe zone, but it was unfortunate that my power went out. I'm going to have to call it there for now. I'm currently just chilling at the Vire Watches doing some AFKing, hoping to passively get a blood shard. I know it's quicker to do thieving, but I really don't want to thieve, so instead I've opted to occasionally come to the Vire Watches and just fully AFK. You know, for all the arguments, all the memes that go on about what is and isn't AFK in OSRS, this is one of those things where it's genuinely AFK. Whenever I only slap on Protect from Melee and I have 99 Prayer, I can actually step away from my computer fully for about 12 minutes. Now, obviously, I do have to keep an eye out on occasion in the event that I actually get a blood shard. It'd be absolutely tragic if I missed out on the blood shard. Nevertheless, yeah, I'm just rambling now. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to continue the Voidwaker grind naturally, but I am passively trying to get a blood shard because that's probably going to help for our Grandmaster combat achievements, along with the Voidwaker when we finally do get that. Hopefully in the next video, we open it up within the first few minutes and boom, we got the Voidwaker blade from Calvarion and we can move on to Ardio and Spindle.